Hey, what up? It's New Age Ja here with you, and welcome back to Mystical Illuminations. Today I'm going to speak with you about Mr. Kevin Samuels and the feeding grounds of young women. Now, if you don't know who this fine gentleman is, he has a life philosophy geared towards the raising, strengthening of men, young men, older men, in regards to their choices in women. And he has this show on YouTube that is for men, about men, but geared towards the ladies, towards the feminine, towards the female, towards the women. And he has like a nightly show. It goes for a couple hours, and he has like 20,000 people plus watching at one time. And he has this philosophy that men have options in life in regards to women, and that women there's a plentitude of us, if that's a word. There's plenty of women. There's more women than men. And that high value men, to his standards, makes more than 100K for more than 5 years straight, is well connected, is recognized by other high value men, has his stuff together and can afford to take care of a woman and children and multiple children if that's what life called for. And so teaching men and women that it is in their natural right, that it is a man's natural right or a man's natural instinct to want to breed and have sex with multiple women or things. And he references the animal kingdom. And when you look at the animal kingdom, how many of the males have more than one female and the females are okay with it? Okay, that is valid, but we are humans and we are superior to the animal kingdom. And we have the capacity to consciously think and feel and change the world around us. I mean, animals don't really have that ability. They are of the world and in the world. But humans in particular, we have powers and cognitive ability that bends and molds reality however we see fit. So to go to default, animal kingdom is kind of not fair, because animals in the wild kingdom eat each other. They kill each other's cubs, and they have an animal instinct to protect and defend and all that, but we've been able over time to refine these qualities. See, okay, so there's that. High value men who are making upwards of 100K, so more like 3, 4, 500K, whatever that means. And they can have whoever they want, no matter what their age is. And usually these men are in their 40s and upwards. There are the ones who reach success in their 20s and their 30s, but the majority of their men reach the pinnacle of their success in their 40s and 50s and even 60s. So there's that. And then the women because there's so many of us, men have the option of choosing a younger, perhaps more refined woman, preferably in her early 20s. And he goes on to reference how women reaching, is it 27, 28, reaching 30 are like in a hot boiling kind of tank. See, if the woman has not found her mate by the time she's like 23 or something, 4, 5 maybe, that she's kind of shit out of luck, and that she needs to lower her standards a bit in regards to what she's seeking from a man. And never mind it be a woman who's in 35, never mind over 30, where like the women are considered old and of less value. And he has like a rating system. Amazing, amazing, amazing. He has this beautiful, wonderful rating system. I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed. And he calls like these ladies on his show, and he makes his show based on the shutting down of the opinion of women in regards to what men have the right to have. And that if you want a high value man, you need to be prepared to share him, because the percentage of high value men are low, something like 10% or less or something like that. And so the pickings are slim. So when you find these beautiful gods of men, be prepared to share them. And he goes on to let women know that if they don't marry, or if they wreck their marriages, that they're gonna die alone. They're gonna die alone. They're too smart for their own good. Too masculine. Too busy seeking success or worldly success, and too busy educating themselves. But then thinks that you have value when you have education, but somehow when you focus on it, you can screw up your chances of success of scoring a high value man. Okay, they're all valid points, I must admit. I'm totally about it, and I love the idea of submission as like feminine play to the dominant, and just like lifestyle. And I'm with that, you know what I'm saying? But what I wasn't too crazy about is how he says that men don't need women, that men run the world, yeah, and that men built the world, okay, so men don't need women. So if men don't need women, why is there such an urge to have them, and more than one of them? Why is there the urge? Why do men have these super high sex drives with animalistic instincts for the feminine? And it's simple. The body and physiology of the self understands that it needs the feminine quality, the feminine engine. Ooh, did I say it? Ooh, did I say it? See, men who don't really have like wives, and who are don't have girlfriends, are obstinate, they don't shine as much as a man who is having sex with multiple women. They just don't. And that brings me to the point. If we're going to the esoteric level of all of this, oh, right. And so, one more thing. So if women die, so he's like, so the women who are independent, who are also high value, so he says, or so women think, like you make over 100K, you're self-sustained, you meet the same characteristics or like flag points of life. And if you decided to have a career prior to having a marriage in your 20s, and you've gotten to your 30s and you're single and you don't have a man and you're married, it's all your fault, your chances are low, and no one's gonna want to marry you. And so this brings me to the chakras, the life force energy, and how women and men are exchanging energy. Because when you look at the focal point of the 3D reality, yeah, it looks like men are really the creators and the sustainers of the 3D. But what nourishes and what fuels and what creates life, what creates life force energy from behind the scenes, the dark feminine energy being of the essence, and then the masculine sun, the light, is shining light on all the density of matter and concretizes it all. But the manifestation and the creation of it begins or stems from the dark, from the unseen, from the imagination, from the mind, from the heart. And so if he says, if there were no men, you guys wouldn't have shelter, you guys wouldn't have this, you wouldn't have that, you wouldn't have anything, you wouldn't have like the car you're driving, you wouldn't have anything. And I really don't think that's true. Because women can give life, bear life, and make shelter, create shelter if we had to. We can make clothing that you wear to protect you if we had to. You know? We know how to hunt and gather food as we've had to. And we know how to cook it and prepare it and sustain ourselves and nourish ourselves. Oh, and isn't it possible that we can get ourselves pregnant? Is that like, can a woman like really embody the life force energy and become pregnant? Amazing. Okay. So you guys go and you fend off lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Women are quite the strategists. I mean, I'm sure we just find higher ground, you know? So I didn't find that to be that valid of a response as to why women need men and that we would never be anything without them. Okay. So all of that entails the root chakra. Lions, tigers, and bears, safety, protection, security, stability. Okay, woman, you stay at home, you cook, you clean, you keep it warm, and I'll brave the storm of the outside world. But at the end of the day, where does that man go and return to become nourished before he heads on back out? The man always comes back to a female force, a female source, a female wellspring of life, of wholeness, totality, spirituality, love. See, men can dominate the root chakra, the earth chakra, but women dominate the sexual water chakra, the sacral center, the life force where we hold our reproductive organs. Thank you, Lord Divine. Thank you. So if a man feeds our root chakra, why would a man even want to feed our root chakra? So that we can take that root primal energy and transform it and transmute it in our sacral center and our water chakra. Transform that, transmute it, like make it beautiful, bountier, expand on it, make it bigger. Create like life force, like baby yous around. Like we can take your energy and expand it and make it bigger and more. And so you give us that primal energy and we put it up into our sacral and we do our thing and then we say, here we go, baby. And guess where that energy goes? That energy goes into the man's solar plexus, his power center, his yellow solar plexus power center chakra, that of air element and of the mind, of intelligence, gut intelligence, ego intelligence, the first mind, right? And then we take this beautiful orange, bountiful, citrusy, beautiful, no. I want to see like deeply aromatic energy. And we fuel your ego. And what do you men do with that beautiful ego shining so bright? Oh, baby, I love to see you shine. I love to see you shine. And so you take that solar plexus energy and you use it to engineer, to think, create, to power you, to many exchange on a very egoic, logical level. And this is that solar plexus. This is the center where we keep balance, hold balance. And so the feminine balances out the masculine energy. Not only that, but it fuels it. Masculine would not care to be masculine if it wasn't for the drive of the feminine, for the chase of the feminine. You'd have no desire to do any of it. For what? I mean, you can go be a grouchy old man in the forest somewhere. But you do it for women because we are your driving force. So to exclude or exempt women of any value due to her nature, oh my God, solely upon her sexual marketplace value, whatever, it's valid, okay. But to dismiss women as a totality despite her wellspring of life-giving, creative, sexual, driving energy, that men come to find women to feed off of her water springs. Give me that juice, baby. Fill up my solar plexus. Empower me. Strengthen my ego. Strengthen my ego. You're beautiful. Strengthen my ego. You're delicious. Strengthen my ego. You're pure. Strengthen my ego. And so the idea of Mr. Kevin Samuels is that men can feed upon all of these young women at their discretion, but yet say that they have no value is disgusting. Because you go with your solid root chakra, and women are like, oh my God, a solid root, I need this. And then you go and give her the impression of a solid root, and she comes gushing over with her sexual energy onto you, and feeds you and fuels you. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're shining. And so your very job at that time is to take that solar plexus ego, refined personality, mentality, and feed it back to the feminine. And this is where there's a distortion, because that energy, she would immediately take that empowerment and transmute it through the heart center, bringing you healing and peace. But yet we're still stuck in that primal 3D. What would women do without men? What would men do without women? You would seek other men who carry feminine qualities, who would sacrifice their roots, so to say, and spring from the sacral. Not necessarily, but the amount of feminine energy you guys are saying you require, then you know what I mean. So, the threat of that, if you do not adhere by these standards, that you will simply die alone. And he uses this argument that, like, women are beginning to huddle in these communities around the world who are older and who don't have husbands. Well, number one, the reason being is that women live longer than men. Men don't have as long of a lifespan as women. So yeah, we might peak a little early as in regards to our sexual marketplace value, but we live longer. And so if it takes a man 40 years to 50 years or so to achieve this pinnacle of success, he's feeding off of the 20-year-olds. I mean, what is the benefit of a 20-year-old to marry a man who's 20 years older than her, only to outlive him twice as long? So in that case, the argument is false, because then women are going to die alone anyway. Oh, but she dies alone with some money, with some cash. Listen, if our beauty is a short-lived thing, bro, son, sir, take a look at the bigger picture. Life force energy, right? You live a little longer, like Count Dracula, feeding off of the wellsprings of all these young chickens. Vampiric at its finest. And then machismo to top it off. Oh my God. OMG. Listen, life isn't as fun without your masturbation habits. Life isn't as fun without that sexual kundalini energy. Don't be frightened. Don't be frightened. Don't be frightened. So anyways, I think that's a long enough rant on the situation. I really hope I pointed on or pressed on all the buttons. But I don't really disagree, but I don't disagree with a couple things. And I love the energy at the same time, and I love his show, and I love what's going on, and there's something so comforting and dynamic about it. It's wonderful. The philosophy, all of it, the philosophy is wonderful. There's just a couple degrading points that I don't quite agree on, and I think that it's important that women make sure that our value stays intrinsic, and that we remember that we are the wellspring of life, nourishing these men. So what does he say? Women control sex, men control the relationship. Like what you call it. Okay, whatever, I got that. So yeah, anyway, this is Janice's take on all of that. And I'll talk to you next time. Later.